finally, our last speaker for tonight, when asked the question I asked everybody, he said that he was afraid to compete at a competition. And when he did compete, he actually won first place and gained 500 BB. 500 BB. And this is all by pushing himself and believing that you could do it. Please welcome Toastmaster Habib Mubarak doing his speech entitled, Nobody's Perfect.
Every time I spend some time thinking about my past and how I lived my life, I always end up with one thought. Nobody is perfect. And it has never made me ashamed of myself, because the definition of being ashamed is feeling guilty or embarrassed of a quality in your character. But look at everybody. Everybody has this same feeling about themselves. So why worry? We come to make friendships and relationships not by finding a perfect person, but by seeing an imperfect person perfectly. Master of ceremonies, fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening.
Good evening.
When I was a child, I always thought that my elder brother was perfect. He was the boss in the house. When he tells us to cease and desist, we obey without questions, no matter what he orders, when and where he orders. Obey, obey, obey. And he was also my life mentor. I started following his steps, step by step, since I was 5 years old. But I stopped at the age of 10, because then I realized how imperfect he was. In that one situation, when I thought that my elder brother had gone forever. But no, he was still the same imperfect person. In fact, he was, he is, and he will remain the same imperfect person, whom I'm proud of. But that wasn't it. I've come to realize how blind I was. In fact, I wanted to see my brother perfectly. That's why I thought he was impeccable. My mind kept on avoiding his shown mistakes just to make a perfect human being and mentor for me. Just in these simple thoughts, where we see our beloved ones perfectly, with no flaws and no mistakes. In that one situation, when a cockroach opened my eyes. When my brothers and I were younger, my elder brother was to discipline us by hard work. And it depends on what bad thing we do. For example, if someone tries to be the boss and tries some bad words on him, he simply waves his hands towards him and makes him cry for, say, 2 or 3 hours. But there was a time when I committed that big sin, and he had to give me a big punishment. So he took me to a big filthy garage in somewhere, and he said, start cleaning. And he simply stood out of the garage watching me. And once I started with an old big cupboard. And once I moved it for an inch, there was like millions of cockroaches spread like an army on the field of the war, sensing victims. And I started walking, and I started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 55, 56, 57, 58. Unfortunately, that was more than I could handle. And one of them ran directly towards my brother. And my brother screamed. He screamed like a girl. But the screaming didn't do any good. He started dancing to avoid the cockroach. But the dancing didn't do any good either. The cockroach climbed his leg, and he screamed again, Habib, help! I simply went to him, grabbed the cockroach, threw it, and bam! 59. I was so happy, I killed so many cockroaches, and I saved my brother's life. Wait, I saved my brother? Then I turned at him And I looked at him with a whole different look. And I saw the perfection that I saw in him melting down. And I was speechless. I simply took my brother's hand and drove back home. What I saw back then was the most painful punishment he has ever given to me. That changed the whole 5-year perspective. It opened my eyes. And then I realized that no man is an island. For how much people try and how much people thrive, there could never be a perfect human being. So no matter what you do, know that you are not perfect, but there is always a space for improvement. Look back into what you have done and apply yourself. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. Back to you.